hit the OK button that we are recording, that would be great. And here we go. I'm going to go ahead and introduce to you Laura Koepsell. She is from Koepsell Career Counseling, and we have some connection with her because she was one of our former GAs. So she's got a lot of great information. I'm going to let her get started, and we'll just wrap it up at the end. And I will try to manage the chat if there are any questions, and I'll let you know, Laura.
Wonderful. That sounds great, Heather. Thank you so much. I am so excited to be back with the greatest career center in the world. I know I'm a little biased, but truly, I am missing my time from Clemson so much. I did the higher education program and graduated in 2018, and I've been in DC ever since. And I am lucky enough that I have started my own business actually right after grad school, and it has progressed so much that I'm taking it full time now. But it means I'm also a pro in the side hustle mentality. So throughout this, feel free to write questions in the chat, raise your hand, happy to answer throughout. But let's get us started. So I thought I would give you a little introduction of me, my business story, some initial brainstorming so we can see what you may like to do with your side hustle, the different phases, some hidden costs that I know I wasn't prepared for, so I want to make sure you all are. Some mistakes from myself, tools and resources, and questions. So, like I said, I did the Master's of Education and Higher Education, Student Affairs in 2018 from Clemson. It was majestic. I miss Clemson truly every single day of my life, so definitely want to visit soon. And in the background of that, I have a political science degree and leadership minor from Christopher Newport University. I started Koepsell Career Counseling back in 2018, like I said, and this was because after grad school, I said, you know what, I'm going to work at a nonprofit in DC. You know what that also means? My salary was not amazing. I was thinking, how am I going to live in this huge city with this nonprofit salary? So I simply said, why don't I use the amazing skills I learned at Clemson and do some resume writing on the side? So that's how it all began, was simply just, you know, an additional source of income, a way for me to utilize my skills. And it got bigger and bigger. And once the pandemic hit, it was officially so big. I was like, this is a thing now. This is actually a real business. So like I said, it started as a side hustle. I just this year actually decided to turn it into full time. I got a business coach. I decided, you know what? This is big enough that I need to make a decision about if I want to keep it as a side hustle or make it a full-time gig. And I'm based in Washington, DC. So I worked at the Washington Center for College Internships and Seminars, initially as a career development advisor, moved on to be a senior manager of alumni relations. And most recently, this is where I am today. I work at a think tank. So I'm at the Center for Strategic and International Studies. So I am learning from the best of the best during some of our biggest world crises. So I hope that I can provide some insight and really establish how I navigated being in DC, starting my own business, and leveraging my networks. So my business story, like I said, it started more casually. I was simply just writing resumes, some cover letters, kind of doing it here and there. When the pandemic hit, I really, that's when things picked up. I strategically, you know, after you graduate, there's like a little bit of time before that, between the end of classes and the actual graduation. I use that to my advantage. So that was the time that I really said, okay, I'm going to build a website. I'm going to make a logo. I'm going to get my brand colors. So I really built it out from there. And that saved me so much time. I was so thankful that I managed to really utilize that time so wisely, because it is a lot of front end work at the beginning. And then you're great, because that's just a one-time thing you have to do. So my original model, like I said, was just simply writing resumes. But then I got a little bigger. I kept thinking, people want mock interviews, people want salary negotiation, people want cover letters, people want all of these things. So my services list, I think it got to maybe 35 different services when you broke it all down. And I was like, Laura, what are you doing? So the secret is that you think you want to serve everyone. You want to make it, you know, as accessible as possible, give everyone what they want. Turns out people don't like that. They don't like to have too many choices. So as time went on, I cut down my number of services, and now I'm at 3 core packages. So that was a huge feat. It definitely took a lot out of me. But specifically, it was really helpful. So that's how the original model looks like. For advertising, I utilized this website called Thumbtack. So you can sign up to have different ads on there. And people that are like, I'm looking for a resume writer, you can write a couple ads so that way it shows up on their profile. So I got a decent number of clients that way. I was really just mostly trying to establish myself and get out of my main network, which was fabulous when I first started. Family and friends were absolutely crucial to getting my business off the ground. But from there, I thought, you know what, I need to get into some places I am not right now. So Thumbtack was fabulous for that. And then from there, it moved on to mostly word of mouth, occasional Facebook posts and things like that. But I was a little lazy with advertising at first because I was thriving on word of mouth exclusively. But I realized if I want to really take this off the ground, I do need to kind of optimize that system. So the game-changing points for me were May 2020. This was when, obviously the pandemic hit in about March 2020. By May 2020, people were like, okay, this is here for a minute. We are in this space now. So I don't know if you noticed this about any of your friends, your previous graduates, things like that. People decided they didn't like their jobs anymore. They either were laid off unexpectedly, they realized working from home, they had more time to really consider if they liked this job, and they didn't. So my client list skyrocketed because everyone wanted this. Everyone wanted to change up their career, and they officially had the time to do so. So my client numbers, like I said, it increased dramatically, but it also increased so much that I realized I'm not charging enough. So the kind of secret with having your own business is that you, if you're getting so many clients, it's almost unmanageable. It usually means that your pricing is a little too low. So once you increase it, you really start to like divvy out and find the people that are, willing to pay that, which most people, if you are like convincing enough about your services, you're explaining it well, they will find a way to make that payment. So I didn't do it exponentially because obviously I'm working with people that are laid off primarily. So, but I kind of adjusted that, and that really helped me to get on board. I also developed new systems. So originally it was a bunch of one-off services like a la carte resume writing, cover letter writing. And then I realized people wanted longer term career counseling. Just the one resume wasn't going to help them figure out what they wanted to do. So I expanded it to be more like multi-week career counseling, which was so helpful. So doing something that was a little longer term package in terms of any type of coaching tends to be very popular with folks. So keep that in mind. And then September 2021, I'm working at CSIS. I became a adjunct professor at the University of Maryland, teaching at their business school on Monday nights. And I had my business, which was just like astronomical. So I got to the point that I realized, you know what, girl, it's time to make some decisions. So I got a business coach, which was an amazing decision. She really helped me to see, okay, if you actually took it full time, what would this look like? We backtracked and did some like financial strategic planning, and really got me to a place that I felt comfortable that I could say, okay, I'm willing to make this leap now. I know I'm younger. Then some people start their own businesses when they're in their 40s and things like that. And I said, you know what, I'm doing it now. And the reason I really thought that is because at this point, my business has been very successful. But if I kept running as I did right now, I was going to be at the point of burnout that's hard to recover from. So I thought I could do it right now when I know I'm like capable of doing this, I can bounce back, or I can wait till I'm so burnt out that I'm too exhausted to do it. So that's kind of what helped me to make the leap. So right now I am part-time at CSIS. I'm going to be leaving soon. I'm just kind of managing one program as they're getting new staffing. And then I'm going to be full-time. And that's really in part to me learning a lot along the way, learning from my mistakes and that business coach. I leveraged my background by my higher education background, allowed me to connect with folks in student affairs, folks in teaching careers, other people that said, hey, my son doesn't like what he's doing for his first job, or I'm in higher education and realized I don't love it. So those kind of connections gave me a lot of clients in itself, or I was one of their go-to people to share when they had someone that had left college. So that was really helpful as well. And then just being in DC, it is like networking central. So even if you don't mean to, you are networking constantly. And it's small enough that everyone knows each other. So I really leveraged that in my past careers doing different like networking groups, different panels and things for my students. I maintained those relationships. And that's how I got my job at CSIS. That's how I got a bunch of new clients. I've had students, participants in my programs that say, hey, I know I met you through X job, but I am someone that would be a perfect client for you. So I really made sure to maintain those relationships and leverage that experience. And I do think my degrees actually are a fabulous way for me to enter this field. So after I left grad school, I obviously was learning from the best of the best. I realized I wanted this helping career mentality. And so I really kept going with the career counseling. I got additional certifications, all of that good stuff. So I leveraged my education, my connections, and then just was networking like crazy. The other thing that happened in May 2021, I joined a networking group, and that was also a game changer for me. So I'm going to go over a little bit of how you can leverage these different experiences. And then plans moving forward is that I'm going to take this full time. I have 3 core services, and I already have so many clients. Once again, things are going really well. So I basically made it work. So let's talk about an initial brainstorm. So I want all of you to either get out a blank sheet of paper, a Word document, pull up your notes app, and I want you to write down a couple of answers to these. So again, maybe you're a freshman in college, maybe you're a grad student, maybe you're a senior. It's always good to kind of ask yourself these questions, because the side hustle you're initially thinking may change later, or you may be ready to pursue it now. So the first question I ask of all of you is, what are you good at? Tell me some skills you're good at. I'll give you a moment to write these down. Happy to share or hear out loud if anyone is interested in sharing with the group. Excellent. So second question, what are your hobbies? Sometimes your hobbies lead to a lot of ideas for the side hustle. So that's a good point as well, as to think about your hobbies. Maybe you're amazing at art and can do custom artwork. What do you wish you could do if you had more time? That's the next question. Making jewelry. Oh, Julie is good at making jewelry. I have some of her earrings. Gorgeous. So truly, what do you wish you could do if you had more time? I know most of your schedules at Clemson are insane. So what are those little things you love to do? And then next, why do you want to be your own boss? What brought you here today? Why are you thinking, you know what, I think I would thrive as an entrepreneur? Because it does take a specific personality, a specific drive, work ethic to be your own boss, which I'm assuming a lot of you have, considering you're here today. What type of business do you want? So again, do you want to provide services? Do you want to provide products? Do you want it to be entirely virtual? Is it very specifically location-based? So I want you to consider, what type of business are you kind of envisioning for yourself? And then lastly, this one will take some thought, so I don't expect you to have an immediate answer. Who would be your ideal client? That's something that tripped me up personally, because I said the world is my client. Everyone needs career counseling. So I originally served high school seniors through senior level executives. That was too wide of a net. So there is a very specific thing you need to do with making an ideal client, because it will help you to provide better referrals, better examples of the work you do, and really just helps you to keep a better brain space. Okay, so moving on, I hope that was helpful in terms of just kind of thinking through what could be possible for you. So this is going to be phase 1 of you thinking about starting your own business. This could be things that you're doing right now, or it could be things you're just kind of planning for the future. So the first is, you want to decide what services or products you want to provide. And remember my tip, don't do a million different services or products. It does not help. Does not help. It is much easier if you start a little small, and if you need to expand or adjust as you go, then you can do so. But don't overextend yourself with services. So identify some of those. Pick a name for your business. So you can either pick your name, it could be something else. But this is good to know in advance, so that way you can get an LLC, you can see if the name is taken somehow. So it's good to start thinking now about your name, so that way you can secure it, trademark it, get it from other people. Next is branding. So this is like color palettes, the font choice you want to use. I know they all seem very nitpicky, but they end up being absolutely crucial in your marketing materials, your website, how you want to portray yourself. So for me personally, I was trying to decide, okay, what colors are calming? Because when you're going through a career change, you're kind of in a chaotic state. You are a little stressed, you're feeling super vulnerable. So I wasn't going to be like, red is the perfect color. I wasn't going to do an aggressive color. So I looked up just color palette ideas, and I pulled one. and it's like a green color scheme, and that's worked really well for me. Canva has since made a lot of additions, so they actually will provide color palette ideas for you. So they make it a lot easier. So be thinking about all of these and start writing them down so you have them all in one place. Next is the logo. So for some of these, you get to decide, do I have enough creativity that I am ready to do this logo on my own, or is that something you want to outsource? Both of them are completely valid. I made my own with Canva because they have really great templates, really great ideas. It's very user-friendly. So I basically made a bunch of different shapes and kind of built it out myself. And I have it to this day, 4 years later, 6 years later, four. So exactly. So you can be, making it on your own if you want to. Next is write it all out. So like I said, make sure you have a running document of these. Don't be like, I'm going to write it on a little scrap of paper. I'll definitely remember. I'll go back over here. That does not work. Take it from me. Put it all in one place. I love using Google Drive and just making specific folders to help me categorize my brainstorm. So that will be really helpful. So once you've kind of established, okay, hey, I have some ideas for my business, I'm ready to move forward, then you want to look around to see, okay, who else is doing these type of businesses? Or even who is a business owner that I feel like would be able to give me some advice. Conduct some informational interviews with both business owners that you think would be helpful, as well as even competitors. Look to see who's doing the same stuff in the same area, similar people, and build out those relationships, because you're both getting selfish research for yourself and you're building connections in the process. So that's going to be very important too, just to make sure that you are kind of pulling from everyone, learn from other people's mistakes, kind of get the lay of the land. And then next, like I said, continue to do research, and you want to stay up to date on your craft. So whether that be a specific service, specific product, keep in mind different things like supply chain trends and what may be more expensive for you, different things that will make sure that you're staying the most up to date with your clients, as well as making sure that you are protecting yourselves in terms of finances, all of that good stuff. So just keep in mind to set some time aside every couple of weeks or so, do some preliminary research, just see what's going on out there to make sure you're up to date. Then you got the LLC registration. So this one I put off forever. I didn't get my LLC until 2020. That was a mistake. It is so much better if you get it from the get-go. So in the tools and resources slide, I list out the South Carolina one. Look up Small Business Administration X state and it will tell you. It was, I think, $150 for like the initial registration, and then you have to do an initial payment with like LegalZoom to get all the paperwork in, but it really is not as bad as I was expecting. So don't be afraid to register an LLC. You are fully capable. The only things you'll absolutely need is a name and a website. So just make sure you have those ready to go. Next, obviously, is a website. I used Wix and I found it to be super helpful for making my own, but again, tons of people can make websites for you. So if this is not your forte, if it's stressing you out, outsource it. That's a great reason to outsource, because time is money. So if it's taking you too much time, consider asking someone else. Consider the hours and balance that you want to have, because when you're starting your own business, it's very easy to just go working all day and then working all night. That's how I got super burnt out. So keeping in mind, okay, like Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'm going to do my business, things like that. And so just keep in mind what balance you want to have. And then the cost and savings piece. So specifically, once you are really starting your own business, I would say get a business bank account and really keep in mind, okay, like what costs am I accruing right now? Be logging those specific costs, because you can write those off on taxes. So consider kind of what kind of nest egg you'll need to really get this going, and make sure that you have that. And because you're thinking of it now is a perfect time to be making those considerations. So you are exactly where you need to be. Phase 2, you're in it, now what? So you have your business established, you're trying to build a client base. I would recommend building out some one-pager handouts so you can share with family and friends, different networking groups that are related to the types of clients you're looking for, the types of services you provide. So I always am asked for this, I swear, like once a day. So it is great to build this out on Canva or wherever you want to, have it accessible and ready to go. Make sure with these referrals that you are really joining a lot of different networking groups. You are asking your clients to give you testimonials and share this with your friends. You will get a ton of referrals this way. And you want to make sure you're getting both client referrals and people that could lead to other opportunities. So it can be both sides that you're looking to get connected to. Networking is more crucial than ever when you have your own business. You are the number one advocate for yourself. Even if it's a side hustle, make networking a priority. So join the Chamber of Commerce groups, join the different like networking groups in your area. There's multiple LinkedIn groups. So there's a lot of opportunities. And I think as of late, because of the pandemic, a lot of people are starting their own businesses. So there's more and more opportunities out there to, kind of pick the brain of other folks. Refine, refine, refine. What you start at the beginning, you're going to have to adapt it and change it as you're getting more information. So don't be afraid to change things up as you need to. Adjust the number of services you have, change up your website a little bit. So make sure you're constantly open to that. And even have, like, sometimes I say, Mom, I updated my website. Can you see if there's any typos that I missed? And she does it. So if you have a friend like that or a parent that could be helping you with that stuff, use everyone, use all eyes on these. Embrace failure because you will experience it. And I think as a business owner, kind of what sets you apart is your resilience. So you just need to going in, you are going to fail at some points, but it's a good thing because that's going to help you refine, that's going to help you recover, and it's going to help you to learn from your mistakes. So it really is a very important part of the business structure. Use your current social media. So everyone usually creates their own social media accounts for their businesses, but at that point, they don't have that many followers. So make sure you're using your own business accounts or your own social media accounts to say, hey, friends and family on Facebook, friends and family on Facebook, or different like Instagram accounts and things like that. I've gotten countless clients just from resharing my like social media for my business account on my personal account. So continue to do that. A lot of folks will see it more than you realize. So it is like kind of a passive way, but you end up hearing from a lot of people. So make sure to leverage that piece. And then notice any patterns. So if you're consistently getting certain types of clients, if everyone's really buying one product that you have or things like that, start to note those trends. If there's certain months of the year that you just don't see as much traction, note that as well. So like for me, I noticed I was mostly getting young professionals to mid-level professionals, and they typically were going through a transition. So I really focused my clientele model on folks that either lost a job, they're in a job and they hate it and they have no idea what they want to do next, or people where they're feeling stagnant. They're in their current job, they're not super happy, but they're not drastically unhappy. They're just like there and they want to make a change. So that ended up being my ideal clients because I kept noticing that trend and I rebuilt out my structure to tend to that piece. And because of me getting more niche and really like targeting that piece, that helped me to have more clients because it really did fit certain client needs. So again, notice those patterns and adjust as you go. And then next, phase 3, where did my bandwidth go? Welcome to me in September 2021, when I officially was struggling. So this is important to note. So it is very possible to have a full-time job and a side hustle. What happens is as you get more like higher level positions, you're having more responsibility at work, that can easily turn into you working until 8 p.m. And you're like, how am I supposed to work on my side hustle right now? I'm working so long. So really keep in mind, once you're finding, hey, I feel like all I'm doing is working, I can never fully rest because I know there's always something I need to do, really like read yourself in those moments. Notice when you are feeling that burnout and it's just not getting sustainable for either. That's a sign. That's a sign that you need to make some decisions. So you may have the signs sometimes like a little bit, but when you're really feeling it, you'll know. It is a very intense feeling and you are getting the sense, okay, I can't keep going as it is. I would also make quarterly strategies and financial goals. So it's easiest for me to remember that I say, okay, I need X types of this type of client. So it's usually like 2 90-day individual career counseling clients and 1 resume revision. And that allows me to have enough money that I can be full-time without like sacrificing anything. So that's important to note too, is like, okay, if I leave this full-time job, this salary, what's the bare minimum of what I would need to live, but like live comfortably, like you're not struggling, you're not like on a very bad level, but kind of at that, okay, this is my baseline. And what would be the optimal? And kind of go reverse engineer that backwards to see, okay, I need X number of financials every month. Here are some quarterly strategies based on trends I've noticed or things that I think would be helpful. and things of that nature, build it out for each quarter. And I think that is excellent to both build out at the beginning and revisit at the end of every quarter and say, okay, did I reach these? What do I need to adjust? Because it is a lot of trial and error. So one weekend, I straight up booked a hotel room. I got a bunch of those giant sticky notepads and I built out all of my quarterly goals. And it was one of the most helpful things I've ever done. So it really does help you to kind of get a vision, and that will encourage you to see, okay, is it time to take this full time? Is it time to keep it a side hustle? Give yourself breaks. You will get tired. You will get exhausted. You will get burnt out. So make sure you're noting, okay, like I'm going on vacation. I'm actually going to take vacation. Don't just take vacation from your full-time job and not your side hustle. Really try to give yourself those moments. Invest in upgrades. So like I invested in an upgraded Zoom account so I could save my recordings of meetings because I do my work virtually. I invested in different platforms and things that I needed. Like I got a Calendly premium account. So invest in those things that are going to make your life easier and they make you look more legitimate. Another thing you can invest in is absolutely getting professional photos taken. Once I did that, it elevated me to a whole new level. So think of those investments because they really do make a difference in your business. Business coach, that's what I got. And again, best decision I ever made because you know enough yourself, but there's always like a couple details that you just don't know switching from a side hustle to full time. So highly recommend getting a business coach when you're really considering that switch. Like I said, get a business bank account if you don't have one from the get-go. Make some template resources. So if you meet with clients, you're doing coaching, make some template ideas so that way it's 10 times easier. Make templates for emails back to interested clients. I have like a meeting note sheet and curriculum sheet that are all template made. I have tip sheets that are template made. It saves me hours of time. Think about the worst case scenarios. So if you do take this full time, what's the worst thing that can happen? Do you need to move back in with your parents? Kind of weigh what would be the worst case scenario and are you like still able to move through it? And then stay timely. So make sure that once again, you're staying in touch with your financials, your current client base, and make sure again, you're still learning, you're getting more certifications, you're actively growing in your craft. Just gonna check the chat really quick. Oh, giant stickies, love a giant sticky. Okay, and then next is, so costs they don't tell you about. And if there are any questions, like I said, throw them in the chat. So one is PayPal fees. So I use PayPal for all my clients. And so one thing to note is that you will want to integrate how much the service fee is in your overall cost because it does take a decent amount away. Not that much, but enough it's noticeable, especially for larger ticket items. Canva premium subscription, I ended up needing that religiously. I think it's like $100 for the year. So it's not outrageous, but it is something I had to invest in. Business cards, if you end up wanting to get business cards, there's a ton of different options out there. I got some from Moo. They weren't super expensive, but at this point, I feel like they're a little outdated. So another option is there's this one that I'll list on the resources that's basically a virtual card. So it's a metal card you carry. You can hold it to someone's phone and it will pull up your online business card. It's almost like a QR code that you can just carry around. So you got options there. Different resources you would need, like assessment tools. If you're making jewelry like our fabulous Julie, maybe you need to get all different types of metals, different beads, different resources. Computers. I was using my personal computer so hard that I ended up having to get a new one. So I was using it for work. I was using it for my side hustle. I had no space left on my computer. So just note that if you're using it double duty your computer, you may need to get a new one faster than you would anticipate. Ubers and travel, if you do any public speaking, if you need to go places, just note that does add up at points. I definitely have that because I have to go from meeting to meeting really fast. Google Ads and advertisement, that's another cost that I would highly recommend. The best advertisements to get are Facebook and Instagram. They are so cheap, like way cheaper than you would anticipate, and they reach thousands upon thousands of people. So remember those. And then time, the cost of your time. There have been moments where I desperately want to go to happy hours with my friends and I can't because I have to fix all these resumes after work. I have to do all of these things. So just keep in mind, there are costs to having your own side hustle and business, but they are worth it. So just, weigh the pros and cons. And then learn from my mistakes. So one, the legal side, set up that LLC immediately. I really waited for a minute. Don't be too broad with your services. Like I said, too many are bad. Marketing, reliance on word of mouth is helpful, but it's not enough. You want to make sure that you are pretty consistent posting on social media. You have SEO optimization, which is the search engine optimization. So you want to make sure that the words associated with your website are easily searchable on Google. It does not happen automatically. You need to make sure you're setting that up on your own. And there are resources to help you, but just keep in mind that's something you need to be looking into. Overloaded. I took on too much and I felt burnt out for a while. I went through ebbs and flows, but just keep in mind, don't overload yourself from the get-go. It seems like it might be helpful at the time, get more money, get more clients, sell more products, but it also can backfire. So just keep in mind to kind of keep it balanced whenever you can. And then the low cost. So like I said, adjust your prices and services as you go. When I got my certifications, I raised my price and then I raised it again as I was reevaluating my services. So if you're getting so many, you can't hold on to them, you're selling too many products, consider your pricing and make sure that you're properly evaluating your worth. Don't just say, I'm young, I'm going to charge super low. You can maybe do that at the very beginning, but don't make that a habit because you need to value your worth. And even though you're young, you have just as much of a right to be compensated appropriately for your time. And tools and resources. So I listed out the Chamber of Commerce in South Carolina, LegalZoom, that's the one that's attached very closely to your LLC registration. They basically file it all for you. It is very much worth it. The SBA.gov, they list 10 steps to starting your own business. Wix is what I use for my website. Canva, BNI, that's the networking group I'm in. It is international, so there's different chapters in every single state. It was super helpful. I highly, highly recommend it. PayPal is a great way to do invoicing and really track your financials. That has been a game changer for me when filing taxes because I was like, where am I going to store all this? PayPal makes it very easy. SEO optimization, I did a little link there so you can try to consider what you would need to do there. And then Uvu is that smart business card I was talking about. I just witnessed it the first time the other day and I thought this is perfect to share with the group. So if you are not wanting standard business cards, that's another fabulous choice. And we're at the end here. So write down my information. I have the LinkedIn QR code right there. Add me on LinkedIn. Would love to stay connected. And feel free to reach out at any point after this for more information.
Thank you so much, Laura. What great information. I love that you took what you learned here and just went with it. So you've really done a great job. And I got a lot out of the presentation, the main thing being the networking piece and the business piece. I think that's a huge, huge deal. So happy to answer questions. We'll stay on for just a few minutes while you guys are deciding if you want to ask. And I will send out the presentation to the attendees. It may be a little bit later this week, but we'll make sure you guys have the presentation so you have the links. And if our new GAs can hang on for just a few minutes, I want to introduce you to Laura. So let me stop recording.